This is MJ. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an analyzer. You can find all my work at mjmunoz.com. Welcome to Red Panda Report episode 25. This time I'm talking about the episode Brimstone Alley. Here's the copy, written by Greg Taylor. A pyromaniac is preying on the slums and tenement buildings of the city, bringing danger and misery to the lives of some of its most vulnerable citizens. The police are searching in vain for the firebug who holds the city in a grip of terror. But if a certain masked duo is right, there may be more to this arson spree than meets the eye. Can even the Red Panda and the Flying Squirrel withstand the flames of Brimstone Alley? Again, that copy was written by Greg Taylor, as was the episode. It originally aired September 22nd, 2007. This is the start of Season 3. Every season of Red Panda is only 12 episodes long, and there's typically some sort of arc or some sort of overarching narrative for that season. I think one season, or I think there's a couple seasons where it's ongoing and they connect much more to each other. In this season, in particular, this episode is kind of a palate cleanser. It's kind of a fresh start. It shows you something a little bit different. We're not seeing a supervillain. We're seeing instead, you should have listened to this already, but it's a wealthy individual who wants to burn down the slums and the tenements so he can build a new city, a new Toronto that will last into the future. And he wants to have his name on it, and he wants to profit off of it. And he knows who Red Panda is because they have an association with each other. And they've known each other for a long time because they're both they're a pair of the city's wealthiest men, and one of them dies and one of them lives. And the fact that there's more Red Panda episodes, I'm guessing you can figure out who that is. But anyway, it's an interesting episode because it's just like it's a lot more grounded, and there's a lot more of a serious tone to it, I would say. In some ways, it's less fun and it's more, I don't know, a little more real, a little more desperate, a little more, I don't know, gritty almost, you could say. And, Flying Squirrel, nobody's breaking anybody's fingers and nobody's, beating anybody to death or anything like that. But still, it's a grittier episode because it really is vile what this guy's doing. And I think what really helps ground it is in the beginning of the episode, there's this fantastic set of vocal performances and great direction and great sound design, really, where there's firefighters putting out a fire in a building in one of these places, one of these slums, and there's a lady who left her children at home because it was the 1920s and you could do that sort of thing overnight or, for long periods of the night, leave your baby home with your son. I think today that sort of thing would be frowned upon, but it's, a very normal thing for people to have done. And she comes home and her building's on fire, and there's another guy who lives in the building, and he says, "Hey, you firefighters have to put this fire out, otherwise we're going to lose our building." And the firefighters say, "No, we can't. We basically have to." Well, I don't think they decide they're going to abandon the building, but they're not going to go inside because they don't want to risk anybody dying to, possibly have more corpses than just the people who are left in the building. And it's really intense, and the performances are great. Red Panda and Flying Squirrel show up and they help out, and they end up going into the building, and there's a boy there. He's just one of the guys, one of the regular cast members, trying to make himself sound youthful. But anyway, there's a boy in there, and then there's a baby crying, and it's the boy and his little sister, or little baby sibling, and they are rescued and taken out of there. And anyway, it's really intense. It's cool. Flying Squirrel puts a harness on, which I don't know if she has extra harnesses or if they're talking about, something that they have. I don't know if that's part of her equipment or if they're talking about something that is there in the house for like the mom to wear the baby or what, but she puts a harness of some sort on, puts the baby, and then flies out of there. And we don't know how Red Panda gets out of there, but the gas main blows, so the building's gone. So are most of their possessions. But people survive, and, this particular family, all of them survive, and that's good for them. But it takes a lot out of Red Panda and Flying Squirrel, and he kind of gives a, firefighters are superheroes who don't wear capes kind of statement there, which is kind of funny. But, there is a great nobility and a great honor in doing something like that saves people's lives. It's just, it's funny how it gets played up sometimes, but definitely I love the classic vibe of it here. And I thought it was really well done, and it's kind of funny. I mean, it's a difference of specialities. Red Panda and Flying Squirrel can fight supervillains, but they can't put out fires so easily. They don't have the equipment for it really, or the experience, versus the firefighters couldn't really take down, Mad Monkey. Although I'm sure he'd like it if they tried. Anyway, so yeah, we have that part of it. That was really good. That really brought the stakes, and it really made it like a personal story. even though we don't see these characters later on, you get to hear what's at threat. It's these, the little people, the people who live in the slums. Their lives are ruined basically by the fires and by what's going on with this guy. And we learn that it's this old associate of Red Panda who he hasn't seen in 5 years. And all this guy's doing is he's trying to burn down the city so he can buy, or this part of the city, so he can buy all the property for cheaper and rebuild Toronto into something bigger, but that he'll profit off of specifically. And he claims to be a god, and he says, all of the rich people of Toronto are basically gods and everybody serves them at their will. And he ends up, Red Panda tortures him with his psychic power, with his hypnosis, because the guy says, I know who you are, and I'm going to tell, and you and your little girlfriend are going to die, and all this stuff. And he hypnotizes him to see what he fears, and he says, I'll make it stop if you confess. And the guy runs, and he refuses to confess, and he dies. And the episode ends with something like, what does Red Panda say? He says, and thus, Brimstone Alley has claimed its last victim, and that's it. And I like how abrupt the ending was. I like how kind of hardcore the ending was. It was very reminiscent of Shadow. There's a lot of episodes of The Shadow that just end with the criminal dying or the bad guy dying in it, and this is reminiscent of that. And it was good. It was a lot of fun. It was very effective. Not much to say for Kitten and Red Panda, but I will say something that, because I've read the books, I know that Kit's she mimics the voice of this lady criminal, and she's able to do that because, well, you know what is it? Well, anyway, in one of the books, Red Panda gives her something in her cowl that can cast her voice somewhere else, but I think he also gives her a voice changer, and I think that's exactly what she's using there, which is pretty darn cool. Either that or Red Panda was hypnotizing the guy actively because he was there the whole time to make him hear his criminal associate as opposed to hear the flying squirrel's voice. I'm not sure how that works. It's one of the two. It's either the technology or it's the hypnotic effect. But I like that we get a return of the line. Never tell the bad guys your powers, basically. Never explain your powers to the bad guys, which is great. It's a lot of fun. It's a great idea, and it's something that makes a lot of sense. And I like the attitude that it's said with here. So anyway, it was a great episode, a great way to start off a season. It's nice and clean. There's nothing, hanging over us that's going to go on. It's just like a solid adventure, and it kind of helps to characterize the desperation of Depression era Toronto and how people will do bad for bad reasons, just for money, just for a few dollars more, as they've said before in the Red Panda, and it's good. It's good stuff. I like rich bad guys, and I like rich good guys too, to counter them. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. So please go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get weekly Red Panda episodes. If you visit mjmunoz.com, you can see the show notes, and you can see all the other work I'm doing. I'm actively working on getting a book published. It's a kids book with magical bugs battling monsters, and over at the website pretty soon you'll be able to see the newsletter you can sign up for to know when things are coming out, things that you're interested in. I have a short pulp hero story that I think I'll publish it on this feed, and I'll link to it in the show notes, so you can check that out and see what I do with my own character who hands justice to people in alleyways. Anyway, until next time, folks, take care, be well, and hold high the lamp of justice. I hope you enjoyed that. Subscribe to keep up with me. Like and share to help me reach more people like you. And go to mjmunoz.com to find your next favorite thing. And don't forget to let your voice be heard. Stories are always better when you're part of the conversation. Until next time, be well. This is MJ signing out. This has been a Story Over Everything production.